Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Sean Mahar, the founder of Sean Mahar and Associates. Sean brings a wealth of expertise with a master's in speech communication, over 15 years teaching organizational development, and a passion for helping leaders master conscious communication. Based on principles from his co-authored book, Stop Wasting Words, Leading Through Conscious Communication, his company empowers executives and teams to enhance collaboration and performance. We'll be exploring his journey, how his business transforms communication, and his vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Sean, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to meet you.
An absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Sean. I know we had a phenomenal conversation before bringing you on, so really excited to have you on talking through everything you've been able to accomplish and what you're doing moving forward. So with that being said, take us back to the beginning, if you can, Sean. What specific problem in the communication landscape as a whole really inspired you to start Sean Mahar and Associates?
I've got to tell you the truth here. The truth is that the president of a $2 billion healthcare system asked me as an expert in conflict management and communication skills to help make a meeting successful, to reorganize the entire system. I sat there 15 minutes and noticed a pattern. At the age of 60, I noticed a pattern that I'd never seen before, which is that these executives were throwing their words out and then relaxing, having thrown their words out. They did not care if anybody caught those words. They did not care if anybody paraphrased them. They did not care if they were heard. They were throwing words that were not being caught. In that moment, 15 minutes into the meeting, and then throughout the meeting, I discovered a worldwide epidemic of misunderstandings about communication, which is people speak to express themselves, not to accomplish something as a result of their conversations. Hence, if we stop wasting words, we pay more attention to what we want to accomplish, and we work towards that. Quick example, physically, if I throw you a ball, I care about the arc, the force, the distance, your ability to catch it. But if I delegate something to you or give you feedback or try to start a company or write a mission statement, I just care about it being worded correctly. I don't care about it being able to be caught. So that insight was powerful. A few years later, we hired a senior consultant who was worldwide known, many books, many journal articles, named Eric Eisenberg, who became my co-author. He sat down with me and said, Sean, I've been here for 6 months. I've been hearing things about you, things, if you excuse my language, things about communication that I don't know, and that pisses me off. Nobody knows more than I do. I travel the world. How do you know this shit? And they said, you have to write a book. And that began our collaboration. So this insight into how communication works is radically different from what anybody else knows around the world. And that was the beginning.
Amazing. So with that, I definitely would love to really dive into the nuts and bolts for our listeners, especially having so many founders and entrepreneurs tuning in right now. They can end up coming to you for your services. So really walk us through here how you're currently generating revenue as far as the core offer. What are you bringing to your clients, and who is the ideal client that you like to work with for those core offers that you're providing?
Right now, my current core offers include a menu of coaching, online training programs that I can do on Zoom. We have a certificate program where we actually certify people as being able to communicate well. We use, interestingly, a certificate from Poland that are able to give us a QR code that provides the content of the program for anybody who's interested. So people can use this in their resumes or put in their personnel files to prove they're working to improve communication. I have a 3-day, quote, live with the author program, whereby at the end of those 3 days, an executive is able to use all the materials we have, all the videos we have, everything, and use that in their organization to cascade it. And we have some train-the-trainer programs and occasional workshops. Most of my offerings right now involve coaching. I coach with boards. I coach with board presidents. I have some clients in California and a client in India, which humorously, we never know where networking is going to go. 2 days ago, I was a guest speaker at the Punjab Police Academy in India, in the town of Punjab, talking about a subject that I usually don't talk about, suicide, because I was asked, does conscious communication apply to and help improve people's circumstances when they're involved in ideation and thinking about planning suicides? And the answer is yes, it does. I've also taught therapists how to enhance their ability to be effective by becoming more conscious. So those are some of the offerings. My offerings have been decreasing over time. My clients are decreasing over time because as public speaking died about 4 years ago, I have not done a national conference in 4 years. I used to do 3 a year. It's just not working. And Zoom can only go so far. So that's what we're working on. And I'm trying to always be increasing business. And I want to confess up front here that I did not go to school to study sales. I did not go to school to study marketing. All right. I'm like the guy in the garage who's very good with his guitar, but unless somebody drives by and hears me, I don't know how to get the word out. So it's a challenging thing to do.
So with that being said, so really getting a good grasp on what you're doing. So you're focused on working with essentially executives, boards, board presidents, and really providing that coaching. You have one-on-one coaching, group coaching, you have online training that you provide over Zoom. So really a wide variety that you could provide for these consulting and coaching services. And then you just mentioned something there that I would love to dig into a bit. So walk us through, especially with, as you mentioned, not really having a sales background, marketing background, the public speaking is not really working well. Walk us through what is working well for you right now as far as getting new clients, getting consistent acquisition flow going, whether that is referrals from your past successes or ads that you're running, social media engagement. What does that look like for what is working?
What's working right now is my investment in word of mouth. A company, EDP Oil in Portugal, found me. Their job was to find the best communications scholar in the world to introduce a 3-year communication strategic plan for their oil company. So they hired me to give a keynote address to 13,500 people a couple of years ago. A risk management officer in Oklahoma hired me to teach 1,000 physicians how to save lives in healthcare, because today, in this year, there will be about 250,000 deaths in the United States of America. And a colleague of mine in India tells me that's almost 1.5 million people worldwide. They're dying because of misunderstandings at the time of discharge. And that's not speculation. It's not theory. It's not BS. It's based on paid claims that document the reason my family member died is because when they were discharged, they were not provided good information. What happens is, in our country, where I know the most about this, people are given information, but there's no checking for grasping. People do not know how to do that. And when they confirm grasping, everything gets better. So I was hired to teach 1,000 physicians how to do that. So word of mouth works. It's very slow. I don't recommend it. I did join a networking organization for a couple of years. It had some potential. I did get some business out of it, but not enough to cover the cost of belonging to the organization. So again, word of mouth is very powerful.
Gotcha. Okay. So with that being said, Sean, then walk us through where your mindset is for scaling. Because I know you just mentioned that you are still trying to grow and really build on this and scale this up. So how are you thinking about that right now, being that word of mouth referrals aren't predictable at all on that front? It is nice to have that as a cherry on top, but what are you thinking about for predictability? Are you going to start running ads? Are you looking into building a social media presence? How is that playing out in your mind for scale?
On the practical side, instead of looking for work, I'm now looking for partnerships. That for me is a significant shift. I'm also not looking for services. I'm looking for value. My work changes the entire culture of an organization. Our book is organized around personal skills, team skills, and organizational skills because it cascades to an organization to improve everything that they do. I'm looking right now at a gentleman who does marketing, and he has proposed to me a 50-50 income split, and he will do literally all of the marketing. He will work like an agent for me. All I have to do is do my shtick. I will need to upfront some money to cover all the software that's involved and all the investments because he shouldn't have to pay that. But he's willing to provide all the services for me. And I'm seriously considering that as an option because my joy is in helping people learn how to be more effective as leaders, as executives, and as parents and as partners. And when they use the old model, I'll call it an old model, of spray your message and blame them for not listening, instead of engaging the person and ensure grasping, as you would throw a ball and ensure that they're grasping it. It's a radical change. Two of my clients in California love that model so much, they hired me to teach their children, who are ages 9 through 13, how to care about their parents grasping their messages. It works. And again, I got to confess, I don't have a checklist on how to get out of the hole I'm in.
No, and I think the beauty is that you're looking at the ways that you can start to get yourself out of that and start to
Yes,
continue to focus on that scale. So I think that truly is the beauty there. Walk us
you're
through
kind.
it now, Sean. Are you running this fully on your own now? Are you a solopreneur in this act, or do you have a team behind you, a sales team, marketing team? I know you just talking about bringing on that marketing partner. Not here yet. Do you have anyone behind you, or is this just the Sean Mahar show right now?
Right now, I have 18 people with me,
Okay.
associates, who have invested a lot of time, literally in India, in Canada, in Portugal, in Germany, in England, being certified as able to work with me on projects. So I'm able to work with a partner in any country, almost nearly in any country around the world, to be able to grow the business. Essentially, though, when I have dinner with my wife at night, I'm it. I'm the driver. It's all on my shoulders. I do have an individual in town, in my town here of Munson, Massachusetts, who has told me that she wants to give up her business of 20 years and come to work with me and be a partner in terms of marketing and make that investment over a period of 4 to 6 months, because that's something she enjoys. But I don't have a concrete step-by-step plan. I'm it. If my candle goes out, the fire goes out.
Fire goes out. Makes sense. And I think those are things that you're now thinking about. Okay, how can I continue to broaden my approach?
Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah. You're running that kind of solopreneur. You have the associates and kind of the partners across and the international section of things to help you actually fulfill on the project side. But as far as bringing those leads in, converting those leads into clients, that's you running the show there. As
And
far
right now, excuse me 1 second. Right now, I don't know whether I'm on a founders program
right.
because my business has been valued by national people at worth between $250,000 and $500,000 a year because of the need for this service in saving lives and improving efficiencies and reducing waste and things of that nature. Okay. Or a show called True Confessions. I'm not sure which show I'm on right now. So sorry about the interruption, but I just want to tell the truth.
Yeah, I think that's why I love the show, Sean, to be honest, because that's the beauty of being a founder, right? Is that there are so many different avenues, so many different routes, and not everyone has the same path to success, but it still is able to see that success. And I think that truly is the beauty behind it. Why I love being the host of Founders Future, because there are so many ways to cut the cake, right? It really is just about how are you navigating your journey, what are you passionate about? And it's clear as day that what you're bringing to the table, what you're doing, and how you're changing people's lives with effective communication is incredible. And you're going to see that continue to snowball and work out in your favor. So you're putting all the right pieces in place. It's incredible to have you on the show. And yeah, definitely could be a True Confessions, but still is Founders Future on that front. As far as what you're thinking about here, Sean, for a bottleneck that you need to solve now, I know that we're talking about kind of the lead generation, don't have that sales and marketing background. You're running it on your own here as a solopreneur. So what do you think about right now as a bottleneck that you're really looking to solve within the next 4 to 6 months?
It really comes down to cash flow
Yeah.
because I need the seed money in order to build the business. The vision is extremely clear for me and for several people that I know. A large enough company to have separate divisions around education, around healthcare, around manufacturing, because all of those areas, zones, if I may, have a strong opportunity to make significant improvements in their service and their safety and their productivity. So I do still have that vision. And there's a gentleman in Seattle who literally contacted me about a year ago and said, Sean, I've read all your stuff. I want to be known as somebody who studied under you. I don't want to take your certification programs because I'm a master of Tai Chi. I earn my living doing project management. I'm a senior project planner. I've worked in various companies around the world. But what you do is going to be a need way after you're gone. So I'm calling you to say, when you die, I want to be one of the people who picks up the ball, who says, I studied this under Sean. I can't overstate this. No one in the world knows it's about grasping. Everybody thinks it's about making a better message, independent of the receiver, and then repeating that message. Nobody knows about that connection. except for our own discoveries. And we can prove this, by the way, with real-time research in every program we do. We get people involved in testing it themselves, proving it for themselves, and then being successful. But I can build a campfire. I was in scouting for a long time, but building this fire is a lot harder.
It is. It is. And it's a fire that you got to keep on gathering the wood for and then putting it together and being able to light it and keep putting wood on the fire, I think is the most important piece. So obviously we have a good vision here that you painted a great picture for us and the listeners here of what you're doing, where you're trying to go, trying to really build and scale Sean E. Mahar and Associates over the next year here. As far as
Yes.
I would love to get a little hypothetical, Sean, and see where your mind is if we were able to bring a genie into the room right now, snap our fingers, and provide you with unlimited resources right now. What are you implementing immediately for that continued scaling growth?
The first thing I would do is bring on board somebody who knows marketing, because it's been 6 years since we published the book, and I don't do marketing. It's quite simple. And I can spend my time trying to learn it, which has not been successful, and I have evidence of that, or find somebody I can trust to do that. So I'd really like to do that. One marketing company suggested something brilliant for me, which could be the magic wand. Find a way for me to get on television. I'm talking about a cultural change about how communication works, not about selling 10 workshops. I'm talking about enrolling people in a different approach that improves their parenting skills and their leadership skills. It's a different kind of dissemination process. And I think TV talk shows would be great. And the way she put it was, companies have people in place to prevent you from getting to them. Lots of walls. TV shows have people wanting to get you to them if you can find the right ones. But I think getting some more publicity in some way, shape, or form, some more airtime, will enable me to be able to make more connections with people.
Love it. So, with that being said, and your passion for the communication industry, how do you see the communication consulting industry as a whole and its evolution in the coming years, Sean, especially with your conscious communication approach? What are you doing to really position yourself on the forefront of that evolution?
I like your question. I need to digress for just a quick moment here.
Yeah.
There's a concept called spontaneous generation. Spontaneous generation was the belief from the days of Aristotle up until the 1700s. And when something dies in the road, maggots appear. They spontaneously appear. Amazing. Surgeons in the 1200s and 1300s and 1400s believed they could operate on one patient with bloody hands and go to the next patient. Had no knowledge of cross-contamination. Everybody believed for over 2,000 years in this philosophy, which you can look it up literally, called spontaneous generation. Just crap happens. Maggots appear out of nowhere. Then this chemist called Louis Pasteur showed up, who said, no, there are germs. We can't see them. There's bacteria. Look, when I cover the glass with a plastic sheet, nothing grows. When I cover the glass containing a rotten egg with an open sheet, stuff grows. There's stuff we can't see. There are bacteria in the world, and that led to an entire revolution around infection control, protecting people, and washing hands. But it took over 30 to 40 years for that to grow worldwide. We live in a world where power has informed communication. The giver of the information punishes the listener if they don't get it right, if they're not listening. We have dozens of listening training programs, dozens, but no speaker responsibility for clarity programs. So I'm looking for a shift in attitude. I might point out, and I don't mean to get gross about this, but this is really important to me. There have been over 60 genocides since 500 BC, and there are at least 2 going on right now. Genocides occur when a male power figure says, my way is the right way because I know this, and you are wrong, and I won't negotiate until you yield to me. I believe all genocides were created by men saying, mine is more correct than yours. So what I'm proposing here is an awareness that communication is an animal thing, that all animals except human beings communicate to accomplish things within their group. Human beings do it to assert their power and to prove they're right. And they punish people who disagree with them, regardless of the outcome. So I'm interested in trying to fuel a huge shift in global communication. I've got about 7.9 billion people to reach so far, but I'm making progress.
Love it. I love
And
it.
literally, it's a huge mind shift when I care about noticing you're nodding and noticing your awareness at the time at the same time. So I'll cut this short. So that's my goal, is to create that kind of market penetration. And I do have a nonprofit side of my business. I work with a variety of support service people, and I have a for-profit, but I need the for-profit to feed my nonprofit.
Mm.
And I apologize, I got excited there for a moment, but I don't remember if I answered your question.
You did, and now that's the beauty of the show is you have the right to get excited and be passionate about what you're doing, what you're talking about. That is the beauty of it. But I do want to wrap us up with one more question out of our lightning round here
Thank
for
you.
Sean. I know you're going to give some great feedback on this front, and that's just going to be what kind of advice can you offer to our listeners tuning in right now, other founders, entrepreneurs, or just any person that's tuning in, listening? What can you offer them before we wrap up the show, Sean?
The best advice is that we are our resume. People find me from stuff I've written 20 years ago. We are our resume. Our FaceTime, our presentness, our connections build either a wake. I'm using the word wake not in terms of funerals, but in terms of the wake behind the motorboat. A wake that sends ripples out that are positive, that are creative, that are inviting, or a wake that produces fear. For example, what you do very well, if I may compliment you for a quick moment, is you invite thinking. You don't put pressure to force compliance with your outline. You've been very generous with the latitude you've given me around your questions, and I do appreciate that. I believe you have a good wake. So our wake is our future. And when we do it well, other people will pick up our wake. And that's the most important advice I can give people. The person you screw someday will come back and get you.
Yes, absolutely. And I truly appreciate the compliment there, Sean. It means a lot, especially coming from you, someone that is a master in communication there. So, with that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Sean, truly can't thank you enough coming on the show, sharing your incredible journey so far, really opening up to us and sharing your insights and where you're looking to go in the future. It's clear as day, as I mentioned in the podcast, Sean, that you are going to go and take this to the next level. What you're doing is so powerful and impactful. And I really hope that being on the show, we can help reach that many more people, continue to spread what you're doing. And just again, truly a pleasure and an honor having you on. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also check out Sean Mahar and Associates at stopwastingwords.com for their communication assessment, and pick up Sean's book, Stop Wasting Words, Leading Through Conscious Communication, on Amazon. Follow Sean on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Sean-E-Mahar. And for more insights and resources, visit closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.